Well, I'm here with NBK from OG. First off, what did you guys do with your week off? I assume you took some days off. Did you get a lot of practice in? What happened?
Yeah, we actually took like 2 or 3 days off. Nothing really did it with all the tournaments we played in a row. And then yeah, just really focusing on the MIBR matchup. We have a pretty good idea of what they're gonna pick, as well as what we're gonna pick, making it easy to focus the preparation really on those few maps, and then get the ball rolling.
So last time we had a conversation, you said that taking some time off really helped you guys reset so that you could start winning again and make it through. And indeed, you did end up taking first place in your group. Do you feel the same way coming into this week?
It's a bit different, I think, because we now come from a 3 games winning streak, which is not really something crazy, but it's something. And so it's really a matter of going off with a good feeling, and then just like carrying on the good work that we had prior to those 3 days break. So the feeling is a bit different compared to before, in a sense that we just want to carry the confidence we have into the games that are coming in. So it was more about getting the small details ready and adding a few things to our game so that we're in a better mindset.
I want to go back to what you were saying about MIBR before, because nobody really expected anything coming out of this new MIBR roster, and yet they've managed to take maps or even matches off some top teams. They took maps off of Big in both of the best of threes that they played earlier on in the group stage. What do you think are MIBR's particular strengths that you are looking out for in your prep this week?
I mean, a lot of things comes down to, well, first of all, the fact that we're unexpected, as you said. It is always very hard to play against a team that has no basis you can study, and so they come in with a lot of new things, and I think it surprised a lot of teams, as well as their individual skills that were present throughout all the games they played. So it's really hard to really anti-strat them, because they can always come up with new things since they don't have like many hours together. So the main point is just going to be to shut them down, a bit like what Liquid did in the last tournament. They managed to really take control of the pace of the game, and I think in really um, put MIBR in an awkward spot, because I think they rely a lot on like the whole momentum they have coming into the games and stringing runs together. And so if you can manage to like keep their whole hype and motivation down, I think that's where you can control the game better.
You actually agree with Kogu that they are driven by hype. I can't believe I'm hearing this. Damn. Okay. Well, as we look forward, if you're to win this match versus MIBR, our first match is going to be Fnatic versus Dignitas Vi. Now, Fnatic has been looking like they've been getting better over the course of this tournament. What is your opinion of them as an opponent should you face them in your next match?
They're also a team where if you let them control the pace of the game and gain a lot of momentum, that's when they're going to be the hardest to play. So they're always a team where you try to control the pace of the game. They haven't been playing at their absolute best level, really, especially with the category of players they have. But they're a team that can always be very annoying to play, and so um, it's going to be a tight best of 3 if we play them, for sure. And it's again going to be a matter of us controlling the pace of the game, and not letting JW, for example, just rush everywhere, take control of everything, and so that's really our focus against them.
So you guys lost to Gen G to start Flashpoint. We've seen Fnatic fall to Mad Lions. We almost saw Envy beat Big last night in what was a shockingly close series. So with all of these things in consideration, you would be our 3 favorites, most likely coming into the tournament. Who do you think is the favorite now? To be fair to you, you had that stumble early, but you've been on the rise ever since then.
Yeah, I think I want to say sadly we're probably seen as the favorite, but when you have that sort of status, it puts some pressure, and it's hard to play at your very best um, when you still have some things to tweak in your game. and you're not like always 100% confident in it. So yeah, like I think again, like all of these teams that have like brand new things in their arsenal. So yeah, the Genji's, MIBR, and Vs that you don't really see a lot of games from. All the teams you have to be mostly afraid of, I think, and that's where all those matchups I think are very close, is because the map pool is always going to be a bit random. Some rounds are going to be surprising, and you can really easily fall into some dumb traps in the games. And so you really want to try to avoid that, and I think it's what's happening in a lot of those games, where you have to like adapt to a lot of teams, adapt to a lot of players, and so some things you're always going to be surprised from.
Yeah, we have a lot of games this week, so you do have to adapt quickly. As a last question for you, if you had to pick someone besides you, Fnatic, or Big to win, who is the dark horse, do you think, out of our tournament? Mad Lions, Virtus Pro, who would you go with here?
I think a team like Virtus Pro is probably my pick, because those guys, first of all, it's very, very hard to like shut them down. Like I think we saw in the last game that even though on the third map they were done several rounds, they just somehow, some way string the rounds together and make it work. And I think that's one of their strengths. They're the kind of team that they will never give a game easily. I don't think I've ever seen them get stomped by a team. They're always very annoying, and so that means that no matter what happens in the bracket, whoever they play against, they're always like a very strong team in that regard. And so yeah, if I had to pick someone, it would probably be VP.
Well, we'll see VP up against Big in the next couple of days. Good luck today in your match up against when you're when you guys are playing today. So thank you very much for coming on, and good luck versus MIBR.
Sure. Thank you. See you later.
Up next.
What's he?
OG
versus
MIBR.
Yeah.
You're watching
Flashpoint.
Okay.
People pissing on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, boulders in the back. Junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with the color repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a troublesome times, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a troublesome times, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring to the breeze blow. Crazy lady living in the bag.
Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through fire for what's important. And the warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier watching every move. Take your shot, don't act a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Breathe easy, take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Breathe easy, take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do?
Our first series went the full distance here at Flashpoint 2, and now things are getting even hotter as our final opening matchups of the playoffs is upon us, of course. Every team duking it out for the slice of that $1 million prize pool, and the shot at taking home this beautiful AK-47. Beautiful stuff here, and some beautiful people joining me up here on the desk as well. We're switching things up. I've got Alan and Maui joining me here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming up on the desk with me. I know we were chilling out in the green room watching that first match as it went the full distance, as we were saying. Definitely did not expect that, but how are you feeling to be here?
Pretty good. Probably better than FNAG do to be moving forward. I feel like they thought that was supposed to be a clean sweep. Didn't go according to plan completely, but they are happy to be a little bit further along in this tournament.
Yeah, it was indeed. Like, we were sitting in that green room thinking, man, Dig could actually be taking this out.
It was crazy, wasn't it? I've been so nervous about my pinnacle points the whole way through. All three of these series, when he went to the third map, I was so nervous. That VP game, we were on the edge, weren't we, Maui? That was, we really thought we were going to lose our points there, but we stayed in it. Big came through in the end, so we're doing all right. We must be doing pretty good on the leaderboard. So hopefully, OG can take it in this game. We've both gone for them, and we can stay on top.
Fingers crossed, indeed. And with that, I think we need to take a little bit of a recap of our playoff bracket, just in case you guys have missed out on any of the action here at Flashpoint 2. Of course, as you guys were saying, I'm hanging my head in shame. I was the one that bet on Mad Lions. It got incredibly close, but then we move on to Big versus Envy. We definitely did not expect Envy to be pushing Big to the limit as they did.
I think what's the most impressive about seeing all these isn't the winners, but it's the fact that they went to 3 maps, and that third map was always competitive, because it shows that with a week of prep, all of these teams at the end of the day are professional teams, and they can bring a lot when they have time to prepare.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. Of course, that does mean that Virtus Pro are going to be taking on Big in that upper bracket game. Fnatic will then be taking on the winner of this OG versus MIBR matchup as well. But of course, that isn't all that we have for you. Of course, we have the lower bracket matchups as well. It doesn't mean that Mad Lions, Envy, or Dig are out of the competition. They will be falling down to try and claim a spot, still moving on forward into the playoffs. But of course, we've got to talk about the game that we have at hand now. It's going to be OG taking on MIBR. And as we heard from MBK in the interview earlier with Monty, a very unexpected matchup in terms of what MIBR are going to be bringing to the table. I'm wondering what you're making of what MIBR have shown recently, Maui.
I think MIBR has shown a lot out the gate really fast. They showed some pretty developed kind of contingency plans in the rounds. I think a lot of people have been impressed with KiNK as a leader for this team, and the firepower is nothing that you can take for granted either. Every single player in this server feels like they have an opportunity in the clutch, and by the eye test, that already means that they're going to be showing up in a match such as this. There are so many opportunities for players on MIBR, Leo Drunky, VSM, and even Lucas at times to show up in the server.
Yeah, it's that freedom that we always talk about. Every time I speak to Kogu, bless him, always giving us incredible interviews as well. But he's talking about the freedom and the freedom of movement that these guys have on the server. And it's been something that, you know, has worked for them in the past, but sometimes it can cause them to falter.
It can. These players, some of them are not actually as experienced as we might think from watching the games, the incredible results they've had so far, particularly VSM and Leo. This is really their first time playing at this sort of level, even this sort of stature of competition. They haven't been against teams that could even exploit their mistakes so much. That's really the hard thing of coming up from lower levels, is that you might get some confirmation bias from low levels, you might be able to play more wild, just swing. They've had some issues. I think both of them have looked progressively better and better throughout this tournament. I think that's what we've seen actually from MIBR in general, particularly on their T sides. I think throughout the tournament, they've looked better and better at setting up an overall T side. They've always had the great aggressive rounds, the 4-1s, the contact plays, but now they're thinking more, how do we deny information? How do we sell other sides of the map? How do we pull or rotate and then go into the contact plays? And that's looked really great from a team that perhaps we didn't think would have that depth coming into the tournament.
Yeah, and speaking of that depth as well, I know that Dundgren was bringing up the point that it's actually really impressive that we've seen MIBR play all 7 maps in the pool already. They've only been together for a team as a month. So going forward, that shows, you know, a willingness to try and diversify that map pool.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty good if you are actually looking towards the future of this roster. The fact that they are willing to try different maps out. It shows that if they face a certain matchup and they're thinking, okay, maybe we should try to play Mirage against them, or at least float it, they have that opportunity because they do ban it out at times. But the fact that they have it in their back pocket for a team that maybe it could be a punish pick against, that's pretty cool, I will have to say.
Yeah, and of course they will be facing up against OG in this next matchup here at Flashpoint 2. And we were saying earlier, Alan, you know, a little bit of a slow start for OG. The fact that they lost out to Genji in their opening matchup here sent us through kind of questions through us looking at this OG roster, but they have definitely managed to bounce back.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, isn't it? That first game, that was really a disaster, really losing to a team with 5 days practice and 2 stand-ins. That was a massive kick up the arse, I'm guessing, from their perspective. Looked completely different in the other series. I was very, very impressed in that VP game. I thought they had so much composure. I thought Alexi was taking so much more control, which is something we might have criticised earlier in the tournament. We were hearing the comms, maybe not taking enough control, but Alexi, he was on point, getting the players grouped together. Listen to me, I'm going to call the strats, and it went pretty well against VP.
Yeah, it did indeed. And as MBK was saying in that interview, this is going to be a very hard matchup for them just because of the amount of data they have to go on from MIBR. So if you are OG, Maui, what are you looking to be bringing to the table in this specific match?
I would be looking to try to shut down some of the plays from MIBR. I think Alexi B and the OG squad have done their homework here, and it's going to be up to them to try to counter the probable nuke that MIBR will throw out there. It's been one of their favorite picks, but in terms of actual play styles that they need to watch out for, it's just... If MIBR have a lot of nades left and around, they usually run the same plays. If they have few nades, like Alan was saying, they run a lot of contact plays. And you need to know where they're going to be hitting on the map, because they have, even with this little amount of data, they've shown some tendencies that you can work with if you're able to break down the mid round.
Yeah, and let's speak about some of those tendencies as well, because I know that you had a particular moment that you wanted to be breaking down, potentially a map that we're going to be seeing in this series. You were saying Dust 2, so what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so on every single map, or at least the ones that are probably going to be played in this series, NBK and ISA play together. And you can see, they have gone through an evolution. At the beginning of this roster, they were two of probably kind of the weaker players, I would say, but they've actually found a lot of synergy in terms of just working together on those bomb sites. They've developed their plans, they've developed their setups, and in mid-round situations when things get a little bit hectic, it always feels like they know what type of initiative they should be taking. And that's a really good look for OG, because when you were looking at this roster in the beginning of its birth, it was kind of like, where is the consistency? Why is this so hard for them to get it going? Because sometimes they would win a blast group out, and sometimes they would come in last place to a team that you think should have no business beating this team with this much firepower. And I think the consistency has been developed on the CT side for them. I think the fact that NBK and ISA now work as a more synchronized unit actually will bode very well for them moving forward.
Yeah, and speaking of that firepower as well, I know that you wanted to bring up Valder, Alan, coming into this. Of course, he's been a star that we've seen in some of his previous rosters, so how has he been performing here?
So certainly for me, Valde is definitely in contention for being the best player at this tournament right now. He's been so good during the group stages. For Valde on the CT side, he plays mostly rotator spots, but not always. Sometimes he gives space to other players. But when Valde is in his spots, he is a monster. Con on Mirage, crazy good at that spot. He always knows exactly how to play all the angles. So good at going anti-flash when they're going fast cat, peeking out at the right time, shutting them down. So Valde, definitely going to be my player to watch on the OG side.
Well, of course, before we jump into the match, we got to find out what maps we are going to be playing on. And of course, we had some speculation coming into this of what MIBR would be leaning into. So where are you seeing this one going, Maui?
So I think MIBR will likely be banning out the Mirage. That has been a comfort pick for OG, and given that they have a wide map pool, they can afford to ban it here. On the MIBR side, you would probably expect them to... Actually, Alan, where do you think they're going to be banning here? I think...
The OG should be banning Vertigo. They've been perming it recently, and of course we know MIBR, it's probably their best map actually right now, so I definitely take Vertigo. Now the picks are the very interesting part here. For MIBR, I think they're going to pick Nuke. From seeing their other series, their other ones they've played, particularly in recent other tournaments, it's always been the Nuke pick. But if I was them, actually, I wouldn't pick Nuke. I'd go somewhere else, and given that they've had a bit of time to prepare, I'd actually go into something like a Trainer and Overpass and go for a wild pick here, because I really do think that picking Nuke is a really strong map for OG, and they could have some problems.
I would agree, but I feel like since they've only had 2 days since Blast, or 2 days of prep, I feel like they just have to pick Nuke. I don't think in 2 days' time they can develop their map pool enough. The question is where OG is going to go. I think it's going to be Inferno, but it could be Dust 2 as well. They've shown a little bit of favoritism towards both maps. Inferno was their pick throughout the beginning of this entire year. I think 6 months straight was pretty much their first pick every single time, but lately they've been picking out Mirage, and they've actually sprinkled in a little bit of D2 as the first pick, so I could expect either Mirage or, I mean, Inferno or D2, so let's see where they actually take us here. And it will be Inferno. I like that because MIBR have shown a lot of weakness towards the B site, where VSM and Leo Drunky, they've been getting a little bit better as time goes on, but I feel like their decision-making is a little bit, it's not as synchronized as you'd want for a team to be fighting for such an important spot on the map, which is Banana, of course.
Yeah, in that VP series, they look really great actually on Inferno, so that would actually be the map that I'd recommend they pick into. I thought they were going to take Dust 2, but I'm really happy to see that pick. I think it bodes well for them. And going into these final bans, the question actually is, who's going to ban Overpass? Because neither of these teams like Overpass, so who's going to risk it, who's going to float it? I think OG, being the more established team, I think they're just going to take Overpass out here. And for MIBR, I'm not so sure actually. I think we could see a Dust 2 third here.
I think it should be Decider D2. Whoever, yeah. I think MIBR was probably more likely to ban. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter at this point. I mean, I've seen OG play Overpass, but let's just get to it. Let's just get down to business here. And it will be Dust 2. All right. So it was the 3 maps that we kind of decided, maybe not the exact order we may have completely expected, but I'm glad to see that OG is going with one of their comfort picks from earlier in the year, which is Inferno. That's a map that they just had a lot of success on early on, and NBK and Issa, again, this is a map that they've developed. They play towards that A site together, Issa in the pit, and the way that NBK is able to support him from the site, it looks really nice nowadays.
Yeah, of course, we will be starting off on the first map of Nuke, and I believe Yuumi has a particular moment he wanted to break down from the MIBR side going into this one.
So I decided to look at MIBR's T side on Nuke and just the execute that they like running fairly frequently. You'll see TRK and KNG lining up these Molotovs that sail over towards the A site, and this allows MIBR to go for a fast execute in towards the bomb site. You'll see the pressure it applies here. This is the game against Fours, and they were actually fairly prepared for this. They had smokes ready. They were able to smoke off both the areas, but even though they were Molotoved out and they had a good reaction, there's really no way that they were able to deal with this effectively, because by smoking off these large choke points, they just lose so much information, and by the time that happens, it's all over. You could even see in one of the previous clips that I think Alan brought up on the desk is this exact same execute. We were highlighting how Envy were just sitting in these flames and dying as a result. Both of them died to the Molotovs. And Fours were prepared when we looked at them on the exact same circumstance. So even though we kind of poked fun at Envy for that, it's something that can be very hard to deal with even if you are ready for it. But whether or not we're going to see that use of the same effectiveness, that remains to be seen. Back over to the desk.
Thank you very much, Yuumi. Yes, we will have to see indeed. And I know, Maui, you had a few particular thoughts on that exact we saw.
Yeah, so you can expect to see that exec that Yuumi just highlighted in every single MIBR game. They have used it every single time they have played Nuke thus far, and Liquid is the first team that has thrown a really obvious counter to it, which is you molly hut right at the beginning of that exec. So their molly, you just have to wait out everybody's mollies, and they basically cancel each other out. So we'll see if OG did their homework today and can throw the same counter at them.
And of course, staying on the same vein of Nuke, I know, Alan, you had another particular moment that you wanted to be highlighting coming into this one.
Indeed. So this is going to be a fairly similar round, actually. But the reason I wanted to highlight this is because what we see from MIBR on the T side of Nuke is so many inner hits. And in that phase game and the Liquid game, I think both of those teams are ready for those, and they stacked up the whole time. They didn't over-rotate lower. So on this one, they're just going to come through those outer cross smokes. They're going to go into a mini-split pit here and end up on the A-bomb. So just in general for MIBR, these are the sort of rounds that they should be running. Not that much util, not that complicated. Just get out with numbers and start trading. Try and surprise the other team, because when they try to slow down the rounds, play the slow defaults, that's when they can have issues from inexperienced players, not enough time together as a team. Maybe KNG isn't so comfortable with like the mid-rounding when it gets really complicated. So these sort of rounds where I love to see from MIBR. Keep it simple, switch it up round to round, and really hammer it home.
Yeah, and considering what we were saying, you know, this isn't a half-bad map for OG either. So where are you looking at on the OG side if they're going to be countering these sort of plays?
So it's going to be coming down to MBK and Issa. They have to have done their homework here, and I feel like OG should have known that this Nuke pick was coming out, so they need to do their homework. They will probably be able to watch what Liquid did, because Liquid just got 13 CT rounds against MIBR the other day, and if they just watch that back to themselves and they think, okay, what did Twist do in that circumstance? What did everybody else on Liquid do to help out Twist on that A bomb site? Then it's going to be at least a blueprint for them. So they should be able to actually take that with them moving forward, and hopefully Issa can thrive because of it.
Yeah, that's that's exactly what MBK said in that very interview. He was saying they've looked into that demo of that game, so they're definitely going to be coming prepared. But of course, before we jump into it, we've got to take a quick recap of our Pinnacle Predictions leaderboards. Let's see exactly how everything is lying after that first game of the day. I'm still down in the red, but Maui up there with the gold coin behind you. I feel like I've seen you up there more than I potentially should have.
Well, it was pretty nice for Alan and I in the green room when, of course, Mad Lions did fall to VP yesterday. So we're going to be reaping the rewards because of that. But this game coming up here, I think this is a little bit more of a coin flip. I'm pretty interested to see who is able to come out on top because I think all three maps here kind of work for both of these teams.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. Of course, everybody went with Fnatic earlier on in the day. It was a little bit of squeaky bum time when we saw Dignitas trying to make it from them. But of course, you guys, you're up. You're up in the upper echelons now. I'm down where I'm potentially going to be doing the forfeit because there's more than one of us this time. There's going to be 6 people, which is kind of terrifying.
You'll make it through, Freya. If it's a dance, I know you've got it. You can learn dances so quickly, it's actually pretty impressive.
I mean, yeah, go over to TikTok and you will be able to see.
Alan was kind of like sea-walking a little bit, just like hopping around on that one. That was good. Good moves. Good moves out the elevator.
Everybody's going to fall victim to a TikTok at some point. So if you haven't been in one yet, make sure you're following the Flashpoint TikTok as well, because we are posting some fire content on there. Let's take a look, however, at the odds that we were betting on last night. Of course, 1.49 to the side of OG, 2.65 to the side of MIBR. Maybe a little bit more favouring OG than potentially we would expect, just looking at these maps coming in now. So some good odds for MIBR.
Yeah, I feel like MIBR has to win on Nuke. I feel like that is the absolute win condition for them here because OG, they're very experienced at Nuke, but this is a map that they have shown some vulnerabilities on. They've had really close games lately, especially to Cloud9 earlier in this Flashpoint event. So they have shown that you can beat them, and MIBR, they need to do it here.
Well, let's take a look at exactly what we're predicting for this game up next and bring in our wonderful casters to join us to do so. It's going to be James and Hawker. Gentlemen, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm feeling sexy, man.
Are you ever not feeling sexy,
you know,
James?
I'm ready today. I got so much energy to just ooze towards the camera.
You look like a cougar, James. You got the cougar
He honestly
print.
does.
I'm about to start crawling around this bitch as well.
Oh my god. I've got like the sweet like cherries on. I'm like a young little boy over here, and James has just gone full out with his goddamn outfit.
We all got prints, actually.
Absolutely. I feel like the only place I can wear this is in a studio, so here I am.
All right.
Well, let's take a look at our predictions because, James, you're going with MIBR for this one. Why are you doing that?
Because I want to win, man.
Whoa.
I think. You know, I feel like both teams are capable of winning this series, and I think with the odds, I can leapfrog Maui and step on his head, you know, keep his head underwater. I want to drown that bitch, and this is the way to do it. 500 on MIBR, let's go.
I'm coming for you, James. In the form of OG. It's coming. It's going down. It's
Only 275 though, Maui. I guess you went big on the first game, so.
Yeah, I feel like the odds weren't that much different for this game. The Fnatic game, which I felt like was a sure thing, and this one, which I feel like is a coin flip, so I was a little bit more reserved when it came to the OG bet here.
And 400 for you there, Alan. Feeling pretty confident with OG?
Well, the problem was for the Fnatic game, the odds were so low for Fnatic winning that it was just like, I'm not going to get anything back for putting too many points on this, so I decided I'll keep 400 for this game. I'm relatively confident in OG, and even after seeing the veto, that Inferno pick is a really good sign, actually, I think, for them. So I'm fairly happy with the veto, and hopefully I can bring home the points.
Anders and Semler also going for MIBR. If anybody was out in the green room earlier, you'll have heard Dundgren kind of losing his shit over that. I think it's fair to say. So let's see if they can make it work in this second best of 3 series of the day. It's going to be Nuke to start off the proceedings, so James and Hawker, take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm excited for this one. I think we've seen a lot of wild plays from KiNK specifically. You know, with the AWP, which is always explosive, likes of C.R.A.E as well. I think we're in for a good matchup. We saw some comments about Issa and NBK before this game got started, and Issa is definitely, like, if it makes it to Dust 2 defending around B, I've seen a lot of just clutches on his own in really bad situations from him, and I expect we'll see something like that across all the maps. So I think this matchup stylistically is pretty good, and I think we're in for an entertaining game to close out the day.
I agree. I'm excited for this one. I think Nuke as well as the first map is going to be probably what really gives us a good idea as to how this series is going to go, because there's definitely a world in which OG just come in really prepared for Nuke and just win it.
Yeah.
I think that Alexi B especially, I was looking at the stats for the players. This is the one map where Alexi B is the best rated player for OG. As the IGL, he's got a 1.14 rating on this map in the last 3 months, the best out of all his teammates. So if he's done his homework into MIBR, who oftentimes pick this map, I'm excited to see if he can frag out.
He's got that slicked back, murderous haircut. We'll see if he's able
good.
to do that on the server itself. It's going to be a spicy one. Just waiting for it to kick off now. OG and MIBR. Just waiting for VSM to reconnect and then we'll be ready to begin. Guess we've got some boards. I suppose that's for fans or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I like
there we
Lucas's
go.
hat.
That's definitely a message to OG there. I suppose.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. There's some messages out for the internet. Someone can translate that, and feel free to send me a tweet.
Yeah, I'm not quite going to read any of those words out loud yet, just because I'm not 100% sure what they're saying. They might be trash.
I think they're okay. Round around, round for round. Maybe that means. Let's go. Let's see what it is.
Maybe.
We'll find out soon enough, anyway.
I like that they're going old school with the whiteboards as well. Like, I like that. It reminds me of school days.
You want to go back to school days?
Not really, but you know.
Well, yeah, this will be an interesting one. In all the games I've seen of MIBR on Nuke, at some point grenades have been missed, like smoke grenades have been missed outside. And they have been throwing a number of variations. And I'm just hoping that today we'll see a clean half of T-side smoke grenades where they're going where they're supposed to be. We've seen some bouncing off the curb and going in the wrong direction, leaving gaps and so on. The first game, I'll give them a pass because new roster, people throwing grenades and so on. There are so many grenades to remember. Sometimes you're going to forget. But I'm sure they've been drilled now. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing. But yeah, for me, you know, when it's the major, I like to have like a Go TV pick. So if somebody wants to watch one POV or something, which I think is great because you can see how a single play in a single position reacts to information from their teammates and so on, as well as how they choose to decision make and so on. I mean, that's not the case here, but for me, I'm going to be focusing on how Issa plays on the CT side because it's something I enjoy, and I think he overperforms in a lot of less than ideal situations, and I want to see if he's able to do that today.
Well, we will be finding out shortly. This game about to go live on Nuke. MIBR will be starting on that T side. And James, I was looking at their last 3 games. MIBR got 2 T rounds, 4 T rounds, and 5 T rounds. The last 3 times they played this map when they started on the T side. They've got to do a bit better than that here today.
Indeed. MIBR will have VSM and C.R.A.E with grenades, both with HE grenades, which is interesting. Normally there's one for Squeaky, but where might a second one go in a pistol round, I wonder? The Racing Livery Dual Elites for Alexi B.
He always does this on the Nuke pistol. I feel like every time he's there.
The rush position, or a potential rush position. So MIBR playing this one out slow. Their HEs have been deployed.
Yeah, they blew up the door. And then Alexi B just smoked it off.
There were 2 grenades, though, so I don't know if there was a follow-up one in that direction. Anyway, we've got to push towards the ramp now, and the numbers game is real. NBK flashed for a brief time, but he's still able to hold some kind of crossfire, although Valde is threatening to fall away. Going back, though, as such as a pistol round. Reading that the push wasn't quite happening. I think he maybe read that they were trying to get him to over-rotate towards that ramp or to be bomb site. And look what he's got by going back and re-peeking. 2 kills unanswered by MIBR now with 45 seconds on the clock.
Valda's so good in that ramp room, man. If that's MIBR's game plan here, I'm a bit worried for them. He's so reliable in that spot. He proves it there. And now Alexi B with the dualies and Mantu with the USP gets caught. Now there's a chance to go down towards B. Alexi B will hear that. Only one man dropping down, but KNG comes in on the flank, and KNG's got 3. How is he getting away with this? The one-man army in this round, but Valda's still alive. He's got 3 kills of his own, and he's looking for the 4th. Finally, TRK shuts him down, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, MIBR have got to figure this out, and MBK is on the right side of the map. He spots the first man. Damage done to both of them. MBK hungry for action. He wants this kill, but KNG denies him. A quad kill for KNG to kick this game off.
That is great, and I said we were looking for explosive things from KNG. With the AWP, not necessarily with the pistols. With 3 kills on the A bomb site, I thought if rotation would have come in quite fast for MIBR. Back up the vents again. Almost collapsed, almost lost the bomb in the vents, but not quite. A close one, but indeed it is MIBR who start off on the scoreboard first. Notably, OG have gone for the force buy here. The whole team have gone for the force buy, so the sniper later on will also be fully invested into this run, which isn't always the case. Select B with the Emerald CZ75, who will be in Mini, as it's called in North America, or main for some Europeans. Another CZ actually. Maybe it's a resurgence. A 2K from Issa. Very, very easy as well. I'm not sure if a shot was fired.
That's what the CZ can do sometimes. Oh, Alexi B caught in the back, though. Mantu wasn't covering his teammate. He might get a chance for a free kill, but it's only a tag with the scout. Now VSM has a chance, but that's a headshot through the box. And all of a sudden, MIBR are in real trouble here. Leo and TRK have to try and save the day, and they're going to go in towards ramp.
1 minute on the clock. Very difficult situation for MIBR all of a sudden. Potential AK to be had on the OG side. However, the crouch peek from Leo will be good enough to take ramp. Now, a scout, a Galil, and a 5-7. Not the most ideal situations for a retake, but NBK's picked up a Galil in his travels, so all three have rifles of some description now. Position's going to be a problem for MIBR. 2 versus 3. They may feel compelled to push something versus these players, although perhaps that would be too difficult. You can see Mantu lurking on the ramp with the scout, while the remaining two are by double doors in control. MIBR well positioned for the time being. No one here to open decon and offer much more threat. Leo Drunky avoiding the flashbang. Oh, there's an instant trade now, which makes things harder for TRK, and NBK will delete him, and indeed, OG will win the force buy. A great start with the CZ75 and a great finish as well.
Yeah, that man you pointed out, Issa, already showing his value on that A-bomb site. The defuse is very close, but NBK just about has it. The bomb very close on the end there without the kit, but OG knew they had to be quick on the retake. These were just clean kills, man. The second one, basically pre-aiming that position, knowing that there'd be a second man there.
Yeah, an awkward angle to peek from. Putting yourself in close quarters versus a force-buying team, and the CZ is one of the right tools for the job for sure. And there we go. A bumpy start, a false start maybe for MIBR. They will force back. However, OG situation is so much better now that you do wonder. All these rifles on the CT side team. Just the one for VSM. So far so good though. Opens the proceedings with a headshot onto Mantu. Waiting for someone to offer something up. So this is actually a good start for MIBR. They've got 5 people alive, including the 4 players with deagles. And there's a weapon which could potentially be collected later on. They've got to keep their numbers alive with these pistols while they try to thin the numbers of OG.
If you take a look at the minimap right now, Valda's actually rotated down to the B side of the map. So that means ramp is wide open at the moment. OG are leaving that position open. They're thinking that it's going to be a yard play, and they might be right in that assessment because a couple of smokes have gone down. That's just to take away the information, though. The rest of MIBR are starting to move into lobby. This is where the rotate arrives at ramp, though. MBK is here. Alexi B is also getting into position. There are going to be 2 CTs towards ramp right now. That could be really nice for them. That smoke will go down, and MIBR will have second thoughts about where they want to end this push.
Yeah, it looks like OG are deciding where MIBR might be going at this point. Alexi B has an incendiary. There we go. Another delay for MIBR. Another situation where OG can look to reposition players. 30 seconds now. Got a flashbang. There we go. Alexi B blind for a second. Things get better for MIBR, but the spray down from Issa, good for 2. But the third man, KiNK, will trade, and now NBK's alone. 1 versus 2. 19 seconds on the clock to plant the bomb, which is in no man's land. Finally making it to cover as NBK swings from heaven, looking for the kill. Will they go for it? Yes, KiNK just around the corner in time. A snap decision in MIBR with 1 rifle able to force straight back and succeed.
These are the players I want to see showing up for MIBR as well. VSM has been in much better form in this tournament. I think VSM was someone who probably got the most hype out of the new pickups on this team. He was pretty quiet to begin with, but now I feel like he's really finding his space on this team. He's really finding his confidence. And then KiNK being at the top of the board is always a brilliant sign for MIBR. He gets a couple of trade kills, but it was VSM's AK that opened up the round for them, that forced OG into those uncomfortable situations. And now it's OG who are forced down to another week bye.
We just saw an early execute that Virtus Pro used to do. Classic Virtus Pro from many moons ago. 1 HE to blow off the squeaky door, and then 2 HEs into minis. So if there's a fast wrapping CT, then they're going to get exploded. Apex used to receive that on many occasions. VSM still alive somehow. The only player there as well. Long reload with the CZ. They'll dance now around the box. He's got some support there as well. Not required, however. Again, a scary situation for MIBR. They seem to be in control for now. With Leo full health and VSM with 10 HP, you do wonder if they should switch weapons maybe. As you can see, Leo's job right now is to just jump and take bullets if necessary and have the AKs clean up afterwards.
Looks like MIBR would rather just have VSM in the backlines, relying on their teammates to win them this round, which I think will be fine. There is a hefty rotation down to B from OG, but they're not really that on the site itself. Leo jumping around the corner. That's why he's the man with the UMP, apparently, running in first. But the trades aren't terrible for OG. They've actually made it uncomfortable. Valda arrives on the site, Alexi with another shot, and all of a sudden it's a 1v1. IGL versus IGL. Alexi B still just with the Deagle, has to swing open the door. The time is going against KNG here, but that's a good amount of damage done. And Alexi B still searching. He's so low on health. 10 seconds left on that clock. KNG about to get the bomb down, and Alexi B... Oh, it's another fake! It's another fake one. Alexi B can just hide. He's going for the aggression, though. The kill not going to happen. Alexi B wins the round.
Not like this, surely. Oh, that's a rough way to lose the round.
They have no money on the OG side, though. This is so weird.
Oh my god, this is very strange indeed. You can see, as these anti-force buy rounds go deeper and deeper, MIBR are in more and more trouble. Not sure who should be covering what. And again, we've got a hero AK for MIBR.
This is
and
a
SMGs for OG.
This is a full buy for both teams somehow.
Yeah, this is a victory buy from OG. With 3 MP9s, a scout on Man2. KNG much faster on the outside. We can see Man2 repositioning with the scout. KNG now has made his way into mini already. That's a strong position. A laboured spray gets there eventually. See some response from OG. NBK in trouble now. Man2 still on the outside. MIBR know their angles. How about that for a one-way? The sniper has the rifle. He knows the gimmicks and the tricks. How can OG even respond to this? They've got to make an aggressive play or choose to save, surely. Unless they need some individual brilliance from one of these players, but it's a pretty tough spot for them at the moment.
If KNG is going to have one of these days where he's just unreal, that could honestly be a huge difference in this game, especially because he hasn't even really got the AWP yet with how the money's been going. He's just been rocking the AK and loving it.
That's such a cool play. What would I do if I was a sniper on a CT side? Well, let me just put up this smoke grenade. Oh my god, they're all getting deleted. NBK walking into a sandwich, doesn't realize that he is the meat. No kills from OG in that round, and MIBR take it all.
I mean, this has been a weird game so far, but OG's money is now going to be really bad.
Yeah.
They've got the minimum losing bonus. Wow, that smoke, yeah, that's really cool. I didn't realize how much vision KNG gets behind that smoke. That's awesome, because Man2 really just could not see him. Yeah,
and if you consider, like, when rounds are being traded constantly like this, it's a complete disaster for the CT side.
Yeah.
All focus on them. Their buys are greater. They generally need more rounds. So this is a really bad situation for OG. VSM will continue as KNG has led by example. VSM's been such a strong player for MIBR. He's been a revelation since he joined this giant brand of a team. Of an organization, rather. Lucas clearing hut. Got a sound cue there from NBK. So you know where one of the three players is. Looking more comfortable now for MIBR. VSM's shadow would be showing on the floor there, but I don't believe that anybody's in mini anyway. Always be aware of your shadows and the directions. We've got Dust 2 to come later.
Potentially, if we get there.
That's true, yeah. So if you're moving up short, you jump on the ledge. Bear in mind you'll be seen from spawn or spawn if you're from certain countries in Europe.
I don't know what countries that would be.
I don't want to call them that.
Okay, okay. Well, 35 seconds. So MIBR have really run the clock down in this round, but VSM got them those early 2 kills, and now TRK gets a little bit more information. I think at this point, they're trying to get onto the B site. The bomb is actually on B.
Oh.
How is the bomb on B? That's weird.
Maybe it's not too slow.
Yeah, they're all right. Another kill for VSM. Issa and Valda not in position to deny the bomb plant, so this will be another MIBR round. I've got to say, Mantu's been getting picked at Yard in quite a few of these early rounds. I think that's 3 times now where he's been the first man to die in the first 6 rounds of this game. So I'm really hoping that Mantu can get an AWP out at some point soon and just start to win some of those fights towards Yard. Because whenever he's going down early, it's making it so difficult for OG to respond. Alexi B has to start to rotate to try and cover that off. Sometimes Valda's rotating away from ramp to try and cover Secret because they don't have Yard control. So I think getting Mantu that AWP is probably the biggest priority for OG right now. And Issa will at least save the Kevlar, but the rest of his team are going to have zilch in this next round.
The consecutive round is 1. Not the start that OG were looking for. Winner of this series will advance to the upper bracket semi-final here at Flashpoint 2. Had a lot of fun content come out this week. Make sure you're watching the intros. OG would like to go back to the intro of this game, I would assume at this point. Not possible, however. USPs and a CZ for Issa, and boy, he's been good with that so far. He really has. I'm wondering around like this. I don't know how much value there would be, but it's possible to throw a high explosive onto Silo from inside A in the rafters. But I don't know if anyone's ever tried to like double nade it, for example. But even if you did, you might not get a rifle from it, but it's, I don't know, it's a gimmick. Might be worth a shot. Would land ahead of where VSM is at present.
It's just a shame that OG's money is so bad. Like, they probably can't even afford that, right?
Yeah.
Because they really want to get their rifles out. I mean, this has been such a weird start to the game. They've kind of felt like, okay, we have to save here, because we haven't really had a proper rifle round yet. And even with this save, I don't think Mantu's getting an AWP in this next round. Maybe Glass Cannon.
VSM keeping OG honest outside. With the 4 spies we've seen already, 5v5 with 40 seconds on the clock makes me nervous. It's hard to watch because I just expect things to go wrong. But let's see. 30 seconds pushing a site is pretty good timing when you've got utility, although they don't really actually. But they do have guns. They have everyone alive. They've got angles. Double doors will be left open. And there's Issa's CZ75 again, trading for his teammate. Lucas has taken control of control, which really helps the bomb plant. Now, Issa's got a Krieg, which could have utility outside or holding hot from heaven, for example. It's so weird, the spray pattern with the slower fire rate, though. But never mind, he'll be taking that nowhere. See if KiNK takes it. He will protect it, leaving Mantu and Pallate to stare at their pistols and wonder what could have been.
Imagine if your job was actually to defend a gun that was on the floor like that. Imagine if that was actually your job. That'd be very weird. You would ask questions to your employer, that's for sure. Valda's looking for something, anything. He wants to get a kill, and he's going to have a chance, but he's not going to get it. So this is where OG have money in the bank. They have the ability to buy if they want to take it. But MIBR already have 5 T rounds. This is pretty solid for them. Assuming they're going to get a couple more throughout this half, they're in a decent position already. There's good money on the MIBR side as well. If they wanted to upgrade to an AWP, that would be an option for them. But they have to stick with the AKs. And it is going to be rifle versus rifle. AK versus M4. Some classic Counter-Strike, James.
I wonder if we'll see some aggression from OG. No AWP outside. Very light on utility already.
Yeah, MIBR have used 4 smokes here. And they still can't get down Secret safely. I guess it was blocked by OG's molly, I think.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Although one seems to be a lot further left than the other one, but perhaps.
Oh, that smoke's so slow, man.
It's so,
it's so
yeah.
slow.
So, well, that's a smoke.
That's one way to use all your smokes within 30 seconds.
Things like this. We were hoping that we wouldn't have an issue with the smokes, but we have. But things like this, I mean, bearing in mind, you know, this roster was put together basically from scratch. You're going to have a lot of things to work through, and I feel like communication in some situations can be slow. Like when they're on the anti-force spies, for example, and it's late round, I feel like that's something which will develop over time. Because what you need to play, like we spoke about, the desk spoke about Issa and NBK, right? Yeah. They've played together so much that they know what to expect from each other in certain situations where less communication is required. That might not be the case for these MIBR players, which can cause problems like that, where things just don't come out fast enough. You see them moving into the A site now. Patience is paying off. They've got 30 seconds left. So far, so good. KNG's been great with the AK, I have to say, so far. 11 for 1. Make it 2. Bomb's been planted. Leo Drunky trying to protect these weapons and positions. He'll manage to do that. But yeah, I think I'm not going to shout at MIBR too much because, again, when you have to communicate more as a new team, like that's something that you have to bear in mind if you're outside the server. Once you're familiar with each other and so on, you've run these drills time and time again, then that will happen less and less.
I think as well, I almost, because MIBR have been doing so well, you almost forget that they played their first game literally a month ago. I looked, their first game was, I think it was the 2nd of November. So that's actually a really short amount of time. Lots of players dying at the end of the round here, but honestly, MIBR don't really give a damn. They've got a ton of money, and even with OG saving those 2 guns, it's not going to be great for them. And this is just that A-site hold, unfortunately, not paying off. Looked like MBK and Issa were both towards Silo there, neither of them able to get a single kill. And whenever both of your A players go down without a fight, you're always going to have a tough time. And this is looking pretty rough for OG, honestly. It hasn't felt like they've had a chance in this game to really get it going. Yeah,
having your money ruined constantly on the CT side is just the worst feeling. It is absolutely the worst feeling, especially when you're the sniper and you're like, you know, I know what I can do with the gun. I just never have the money for it, never have a sniff of one. It's pretty brutal. Speaking of the AWP, you will soon see that KNG has pulled one out. With all the success we've seen from him with the rifles, the loss bonus is starting to rise for OG, which is one thing which is in their favor.
It's not going to be until round 10 that Mantu gets that ult for the first time. That is so rough.
There we go. Going back to, well, I suppose it's not so relevant here. I was going to say the force buy in the second round and even the sniper going for it. The forces one back and forth kind of changed what I was going to say anyway. VSM up top as usual. There will be grenades going in his direction from downstairs. I'm sure there's a certain time on the clock where that's thrown. A great pop flash for Valde, allows him to reposition.
Oh, he doesn't know. He now knows. Valde, nice headshot with the AK. He's getting assistance as well. Mantu's arriving with that second rifle. He's not able to help on the initial fights, but TRK is pushing up close. The flash goes too far. Mantu's not in a position to get a kill from it though. So ramp control is taken by MIBR. This is a position they like to prioritize in quite a few of their rounds, and they've also taken one of the AKs away from OG. So a pretty successful start to this round for MIBR, all things considered.
I don't think they know that KNG has an AWP just yet, which may have a part to play in the rest of this round. But again, it's another, well, it's a half-buy situation here. But I mean, if you look at the tools being used by OG, it's basically a forced buy situation. And MIBR playing it so patiently, just waiting with the map control, looking for OG to make a play. As we can see, they're mostly committed to the A-bomb site. I don't know if MIBR have identified that, really. 27 seconds now. And they'll start to move towards that B-bomb site. There may be some curiosity around Hut from OG. Nope, going to be quite static for now.
This is really running it down to the wire, isn't it? 12 seconds. I think they're going to be fine. There's no one rotated. Issa's going to have to try and deny the bomb plant. He's going to go for a wild spam, but the CZ is not the weapon you want in that position. If he has a rifle, maybe he can get that kill. KNG there going for a crazy wallbang. Oh, he's getting close on it, but it is going to be OG probably playing for exit kills. They don't have a kit. They'd rather save the rifle on Mantu, I assume, and then the pistol players will maybe go for some kills at the end.
See how KNG's moved his position. He's scared of getting shot by a Deagle through the floor from Decon, just forcing him forward to expose him to control. But they have identified that both players are around that secret position now, so he's okay. But you can see the awkwardness from that. Consistently going for the wallbangs was telling his opponent, okay, if you take that Deagle down to Decon, you may be able to shoot me through the floor. Little note there, but it's good spatial awareness from KNG. He knows what information he's giving his opponent, so you can see that he came ready to play. 4 bomb plants in a row for MIBR, maybe even 5. They did win that last one by elimination, but I'm sure the bomb was planted there as well. Finally, OG with maybe their first full buy of the half at round number 10. Mantu on the AWP, 2 for 6, looking to change that immediately. Almost all the grenades out as well. NBK will leave 200 in the hole. No flashbang to finish off his buy. Fast boost on the outside. Molly's. Ooh. OG have really been splashing the cash.
OG are pushing ramp right now. Mantu's got the AWP for the first time, and he's getting aggressive with it in towards lobby. This is the play he's looking to make. He's not trying to hold yard. He's trying to get some information, some space for his team, and Valda's making the most of it, pushing all the way through, starting to clear out those corners. This is a good amount of information for OG. They can start to realize that a yard play is pretty likely here. AlexiB is the man close by who would be ready for that. And MIBR is still taking their time in this round. So the fact that Mantu is pushed all the way in towards lobby means that OG are going to have a great amount of info to work with and a really nice chance to try and get some kills towards yard.
Lucas has been on the roof this entire time, waiting to deploy some grenades, I assume, into the bomb site. If he was actually downstairs in that same position, I think that maybe he would have been able to hear that fallback from the ramp push. But it's not the case. Mantu still here. Here's the flick, though. Pushes forward now. Won't be expecting another one on the outside. Lucas has been eliminated as well. Remember, he was on the roof, so not sure where that happened. In the meantime, there's a play towards the B bomb site from MIBR. Speeding up now. KNG wondering about Decon. VSM about control, where AlexiB makes his way. Silently now. Decon open. He has an angle. KNG just running past, looking for information. Again, spatial awareness from KNG looking real good right now, but this clock isn't for MIBR. And then there were two. AlexiB with a very strong angle. Got cover from Valde as well. Can concentrate on control. Here comes Issa. Stereo frags for OG, and they're finally on the board, and all 5 survive.
That's excellent awareness from AlexiB there. Once he realizes that the B site is the one that's vulnerable, he doesn't go for the fights on B. He just realizes he needs to make sure he survives on the B site, and then his teammates can start to rotate over. And you can see AlexiB, a little smile on his face, hyping his team up a little bit. OG looking much more comfortable now that they've got the guns in their hands. And I think they realize that if they can come back and get a few more rounds here, this half can still be pretty solid for them. And you can already see MIBR's money isn't great here. They've got a Tech 9 on TRK, and because of that, a fast play, but Issa's got one. There's another man behind the vent. He should have been spotted, but Issa's going to go back for the reload. So just the one kill for now.
Yeah, he seemed to have missed that, but maybe it's come up on the radar. We'll see if there's some spray later on, or if he plays more defensively. Can see Leo downstairs looking for an opportunity. OG may or may not give him one. AlexiB seems to be having a look around the area. They've got a great man advantage as well of KNG being picked off. He's just cleared T vents now. Takes up position. Oh my god, look at these pushes from OG. MIBR do not realize how much map control they don't have. VSM and TRK remain. 2 clean rounds from OG with no one dying would be such a turnaround for them. They could still get 8 rounds out of this half, which I think they'll be happy with the way this has started. So MIBR really have to have some impact, whether they lose the round or not. Doesn't look that way though. They know that Molly wasn't from TRK, so they should have all the information. See Issa looking to swing with NBK. 2-man on road here. Hard for VSM to see through the flames. There we go. No one lost from OG again. Now they've got a full buy in the hole.
Yeah, you almost wonder what would have happened if OG could have got some cleaner gun rounds at the start of this game. If it wasn't such a weird start. Oh my god, I didn't see that.
No.
Wow.
That is a curious one. God, imagine the comms on that.
I think Issa might have got the kill anyway, but it doesn't matter. MIBR now, 3 AKs for them. They have okay utility, but only 3 smokes right now. So in terms of being able to go for that standard yard play, they'd need all those smokes to be on point. And we're already seeing some of those smokes being deployed. VSM and TRK with the lineups at the ready. Molly goes down. The smoke, I believe, will be landing on that Molly. Oh, one of them is horribly wrong, James. That is horribly wrong. How has it gone so far away from where it's meant to go?
I didn't even know they're trying to draw some kind of constellation outside of these smoke grenades. I think they need to develop some more protocol for delayed smoke grenades to not get wrecked by that Molotov as well. You can see the difficulty of sitting behind this blue box as well. Very common spray for the T side. Something to try at home. Well, the struggle has all of a sudden become very real for MIBR.
I mean, what's the backup plan here when all you have is flashes and one molly? I assume maybe a pop onto the A site, maybe a pop into ramp. Those are really the two options you have, and I feel like OG are going to be really well prepared for either of them.
He's not peeking Squeaky 100% of the time, which can be to the CT's advantage when he goes for another peek again, because they've cleared it already, manages to get a kill, and information as well. NBK round the back, trying to stay alive, not over-peeking, waiting for his team to get into position. You can see him looking to cover. Valde's back. Oh, he makes his way into A, but indeed, they are going down to the B bomb site now. 12 seconds to plant this bomb. Can't mess around. Lucas waiting for Leo to swing, as Lucas is the bomb carrier. Planted just in time. He's going nowhere, though.
He's screwed. Mollied out of position. At least Leo's been given a chance to maybe do something. He just goes for the swing, trying to get aggressive with it. Didn't really have much of a chance to win the round, so he just goes for fights, which he will not be winning. Feels like a flip. A switch has just flipped. Not a flip has just switched. A switch has been flipped, yeah.
Sometimes the flip switches.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes the switch flips.
Yeah, it's just a complete turnaround now. OG are killing it.
Yeah, and again, it's a late resurgence, but certainly not too late. Worst case, if MIBR don't win another round in this half, 7 rounds on the T side will give them plenty of room to work with. But I'm sure they'll want more. Now, OG have put MIBR into eco territory. A timeout from MIBR has come and gone. We can see Alexi B almost reaching the dizzying heights of $9,000. A stark difference in success now for these two teams. 3 rounds in a row for OG. We've got some more smoke grenades to come out from MIBR, so this round will be entertaining at the very least. Mixed bag of pistols as well.
They've got 5 smokes this time on the MIBR side, so there's a little more leeway. Oh, the nade stack, though, gets a kill outright. Alexi B spots some players moving behind the red container as well. In come those smokes. Let's have a look. They're looking good this time, but a counter incendiary will certainly slow MIBR down on their attempted cross towards Secret. Lucas is going on the other side of those smokes to maybe see if he can land a quick headshot, but the rest of the players will be walking back. And Lucas walking into the smoke was never really going to win that fight. MIBR are at least down Secret, but Alexi B is using this door to his advantage, going for a jump beat right now.
I wonder if he's going to try and pull out the Anders flash.
That's what I was wondering as well.
It's gimmick time. He's holding the rifle out, though, but I mean, he's a professional player, so he's changed the direction of the door. He wants to see more, wants more information. There we go. What does he do now? Close the door. So a bomb plant would be nice for MIBR. We're heading towards inconsequential damage, just really about their own money and maybe winning a round. Great transfer, though, from Alexi B. Not too challenged by this situation. 2 rounds left to fight for in this first half.
I love how active Alexi B gets on Nuke. This time he's again on that B site. In some of those previous rounds, he normally starts by playing main or mini, depending on where you're from. And oftentimes he'll get flashed in to try and get kills there early in the round. We've seen OG really counter MIBR towards Yard in these recent rounds. And then Alexi B knows exactly what he needs to do on the B site in terms of just surviving, making sure he's not too exposed from all the angles, and then allowing his teammate to get into position. Really solid stuff from him. And everyone's starting to warm up on the OG side now. But MIBR do have the AKs out. Again, we see some Yard smokes go down, but this time MIBR aren't trying to use them. Oh, those smokes have gone wrong again. So there is no real way they can sell that fake, but they can try and go for a fast A play.
Was that tagging? Oh, that's from the ramp as well. That's glorious. I haven't even discussed that yet. There's a surprising amount of spraying you can do from there. That might have given OG information. Of course it has. Oh my god, this is a complete disaster. Or is it? MIBR managing to take control of the area at the very least, but they're still huddled together. Where will they choose to go? Leo Drunky's gone down. 2nd and 3rd man with him. Man2 wondering what's going on now. Indeed, those walls are paper thin. Still lurking KNG, covering the rotation through A, which leaves Man2 and Valde as the last 2 players. Now, again, the money is inconsequential. They could risk dropping an AWP to KNG, but apart from that, they don't have anything to Well, I suppose the AK or an M4. But that's it. They'll hold position for now, and that might make it doable for them. Invited to peek, suggested they were saving. 2 versus 3 could be done. Mantu's quite far away, however, so might be a solo play from Valde. And again, he could just make it as expensive as possible for MIBR. We'll see if Leo can survive. He'd be the only one at this point.
Oh, no.
And it seems not.
Oh, he's all right. Yeah, that B site, the bomb does not do much damage. You can actually be on the site still on 100 health and survive from it.
The money, though, for MIBR. Lucas on 3.5 grand. VSM 3.5 grand. TRK 38.50. So that should make life a lot easier for OG in this final round.
Hearing that in slow-mo is weird. Really nice boost for KNG there to get that early kill. He gets 3 on the round, 15 for 7 now, but as you said, James, a couple of issues for MIBR into the last round of the half. A couple of Galils in the mix for them, but they've already got 8 rounds. They're looking for 9. Early play from KNG towards this position. Valda's sitting on the other side, but KNG has to clear this, and he does. Insta headshot. Alexi B now needs this follow-up, but KNG could just play it safe here. He can just back off through that smoke, and look at this. They've drawn Issa away from the A site. He is going to get back in time, though. Good utility usage from OG to slow MIBR down.
KNG with the AK has been great on this map. Kind of reminds me in some ways of Chris J when he used to go with the AK and just run out on train. He used to be so dangerous with it. AWP not always necessary. That's something we've seen from KNG, at least on this map, on the T side for MIBR. Something for them to think about and review, perhaps. 5 versus 3 as Mantu looks to make a difference now. Leo running out of bullets. Will the Glock be able to finish things off? He's got to trade if necessary. And then there was Alexi B in the last round of the first half. We'll see what he can do. Looking to rotate now. Bomb not planted just yet, but VSM will finish the round out for MIBR. 9 rounds in the first half for MIBR. A really good start from them, I think, and finished well enough. OG, though, with enough of a comeback. 6 rounds moving into the T side. We'll see what they can do after the break.
A slightly strange first half, but MIBR are currently up on their map pick, and now they get to play on the favored CT side. Currently a 3-round lead for them. Let's see if they're going to extend that from this pistol.
Lots of Kevlar on the MIBR side. LXCB and Valde with grenades, but rather than the HE grenades that we saw from MIBR, they've got 2 P250s. That makes me a very happy chappy indeed. It's like some cake with custard.
Oh, I love custard.
Udoh is very pleased with these P250s. Again, we've seen great demonstrations with it. It is, I think, a must-have in most cases. Can't say all, because if you're going to use utility to close the distance, then those Glocks come into their own with the extra bullets. But if you're taking a duel at range, those P250s are absolutely essential. The numbers game being used here by OG. NBK doing what he can. There's a swing there from Isat. Not successful, because KNG is all over this game thus far.
Good shot from VSM. Lucas trying to run and gun, but Mantu gets the close range kill with the Glock, and it's into a 2v3. Mantu's already got 2 kills on the round, but he's going to have to do even more here. He's currently alone on the lower side of the map with the bomb. AlexiB might have a tough time joining him, or it might take some time for AlexiB to get down here. And the issue is, even if Mantu wanted to quickly go back up the vents to A, there's a player in the vents right now that he's got to try and deal with first. AlexiB is still searching for a pick with that P250, but now he's starting to realize they're not giving him that fight, so he might just have to join his teammate. Mantu's still looking at all these angles. He's not entirely sure where the player that he spotted previously is, but VSM is still in the vents, and that's not a headshot angle he's holding there. He was shooting at the body. That means AlexiB is going to get that kill, and it is a wide open B bomb site here. A 2v2 post plant about to come through.
Leo's creeping. Looking for a lurker. Convinced somebody was on the ramp and he'll be exposed to the site while he's staring at to the side, which leaves TRK alone. That defuse kit now, top of the ramp. TRK having a look, needs to avoid a double peek. If only he had the kit. That would be the round, surely. Mantu with a swing. There's, he knows where both are now. The one tap. Has he got another one, though? He can charge all the way up again. The kit is around the corner there. AlexiB running away, but that's fine. I'll pick up the kit and go back and defuse the bomb. No problem. But the chase is on. Here comes AlexiB coming back again. Looking for those taps, and he's just about going to make it. That one worked out quite well for MIBR. Almost lost it towards the end, but TRK should just get a defuse and make it to double figures.
Really well played by TRK there to realize what he had to do. Alexi did a pretty good job as well at buying time to begin with. He knew that the kit was dropped. He knew that there couldn't be an instant defuse to begin with, but TRK pinpointed the fact that he had to pick up that defuse kit. The communication must have been on point as well for TRK to realize exactly where that kit was dropped. He ran in, he got it, he got back to the site and got the kill he was looking for. MIBR winning that pistol round now puts them in a really good spot. The question on my mind is, do OG force after winning, well, at least getting that bomb plant? Because they could just save and get a goodbye in the next round, or they could try and force here and really try and put the pressure on MIBR. I think this is a big call for OG in this game.
Oh, I have translations on these boards from the internet. Thank you, internet people. On the left, it says, confidence, we'll be the champions. And on the right, it says, we'll be the champions, believe, round by round, trust in it. And there's OG in the middle just to show their next target. There's no trash talk. Very nice. So I've got the round by round bit.
That's good. I would love if one of them just said, screw you, Udoh. They somehow knew you were going to translate them.
Thank you, internet, for your answers. Multiple people came in with responses. I appreciate you all. There's a ding and a dong from KNG, which makes it a 5 versus 4. He's not going anywhere, though. He has support as well to his right-hand side, and Lucas is up close with the FAMAS, the French gun. Spreading the well for MIBR in the most painful way possible, but Mantu's got something else of his own to do. He'll make it expensive at the very least. AlexiB behind enemy lines, but he is sans the bomb. He is without the bomb. Leo, Lucas, and VSM as AlexiB surely looks to his... Oh, God, these angles. There we go. VSM's ready. He's a hard man to frag, VSM.
Yeah, he's really good at staying alive. You see him in those positions a lot of the time. On CT side, he'll be playing towards ramp, for example, a spot where you really just need to be elusive. And that was the force buy for OG, for what it's worth. They went for the full investment, and it didn't really feel like they got to compete in the round. MIBR remaining in control. It's going to be a low buy for OG. basically a no-buy from OG, let's be honest. They got 3 P250s right here. So it's really going to all be down to this next round for OG. If they lose this upcoming gun round, I don't know if I see them winning this game. At least this map. I shouldn't say game. That's
well,
a bit,
game, map, same thing.
You know. I think game is meant to be the whole series. I don't know.
No, game is the one game.
Oh, okay.
Series is the series.
Okay, good.
Think game, set, match. Think of tennis.
Oh, true.
Map, game, match, series. I love P250s, man. I have this one.
I like that he's got the Nuke one as well.
Yeah.
Good coordination. This one as well, the Glock with the eyes.
I've got one of those as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Potter likes that one. I'm out here simping for Potter. I know what she likes now. I got her likes down on a notepad.
Oh, nice.
OG looking to combine their forces. They're trying to make a Megazord, but I don't think they've got enough plastic. Oh, the bomb stuck on the roof now. Shadow advantage will allow Lucas to do what he can. Well, OG achieved something from this round. The reason this round went on for so long is because they're trying to make it expensive. And they were able to take about $6,000 away, so they achieved that at the very least. Now come the big guns, the AK-47s, the Kalashnikovs.
And the AWP for Mantu. Both teams getting AWPs, in fact. 2 snipers for MIBR. KNG and VSM will be picking up the AWP. I'm not sure if OG will expect a double AWP setup in this round either. I assume VSM will maybe just be playing ramp with that one, whereas KNG will be looking for action at Yard. He is a bloodthirsty man right now. He's been having a brilliant game, and this play could work for him. Lucas just catches Alexi B. He was caught between a rock and a hard place there. OG now seeing if they can maybe get some quick mollies onto the A site, but they've used all their smokes at Yard, and they haven't really got much to show for it.
Well, there we go. The bomb's being spotted. Gets another 1v1 opportunity, VSM, but NBK manages to survive. Considering his options there, not being too greedy, though, concedes the real estate VSM as they have a 5 versus 3 MIBR. Pretty reasonable at the moment. You can see KNG's flanking. He's going towards the lobby. Not sure if you'll hear those sound cues. And I do wonder, for example, there, like NBK hits the wall with his knife. I do wonder, like, how far that travels, and if that tells them something, like, unbeknownst to them, that's heard by MIBR. Anyway, they know they're on the ramp, so nothing crazy has happened with that. VSM, surely he gets another one here.
There's the shot he was looking for. Oh, goes back for more, but MBK with the AWP will get the kill. Leo's already moved into an advanced position, though. This bomb plant will remain difficult. They don't have nades for it. The bomb being planted as we speak, but it was a fake, and MBK is dealt with. Only Valda remaining. Nice headshot onto TRK, but he's not got the bomb right now, and there are plenty of CTs swarming the site as we speak. Oh dear, Valda's not even got his gun out. KNG arriving all the way down onto the B site. That aggression from KNG just gives MIBR all the information they need. They could basically draw exactly where OG were on the map, and that makes it a much easier round.
They're getting closer, MIBR, closer to the big W. The money right now sucks for OG. And VSM could have been in a number of different places there, so it would have been surprising for him not to get a frag on one of those 3 players as they came from the ramp. OG find themselves with many grenades and pistols. So far behind now on this T side. Again, that war of attrition really not rewarding for the CT side at the beginning of this game. See how their smokes play out. There's one in response from the CTs as well. And we can see MIBR moving around. With 2 AWPs, there is a chance that this becomes awkward for them if OG can find an entry and swarm a site, but we are asking a lot in this situation.
I think OG threw the garage smoke to land first so that would fade and they can maybe try and find some fights while the other smokes are up. That's not going to be allowed though. They're just going to go down secret, which is okay for them. MBK, the one man lurking around Yard, seeing if he can sniff out one of the opponents. And KNG just made a step. Oh, he's given the game away here. MBK, wait, he should have seen the gun barrel. Now he's running away. I thought he was going to stick around to try and get that AWP, but instead he's got to join his teammates on the B site. And now I just feel like MIBR are in really good positions. Lucas gets that first one, trying to pre-fire the corner. They're looking to run him down, but KNG is about to flank. Oh, he's not going to get the chance to pull the trigger, but he finally finds it. And this is not happening for OG. Mantu has no hope in hell here. KNG puts him to bed. 25 kills now for KNG. If he continues to perform like this, it's feeling very good for MIBR.
Every round thus far in this half has been taken by MIBR. And opportunities are running slim now for OG as MIBR make it to 14. 2 AWPs will continue for the Brazilians. I've never been to Brazil, man.
Same.
That kind of sucks.
I'd love to. I've never been outside
South
Europe
America.
even.
Oh, Jesus. We need to get you deported ASAP.
Get me out of here.
5 AKs for OG. Alexi B makes his way into a smoke, but will he go upstairs or down? Trying to find something in A. He's the only person at present. So far, so good. We've got flashbang support as C.R.A.E tries to make an effort from heaven. Down 22 HP, and KNG's here as well. The push from VSM will be disastrous, and maybe it's not over for OG just yet.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting to see more of from OG on this T side. Alexi B just exploding out through door and really testing some of the more inexperienced players on MIBR. Leo wasn't able to deal with it in this round. There is perhaps still an opportunity for MIBR. They're thinking about going for this retake. TRK plopping down the smoke, which will work as a one-way. He can throw this flash in as well. A couple of flashes coming through. In fact, KNG, oh, how does he get that? He's blind and he gets the no-scope. It's still an opportunity here. They've got to smoke the bomb. KNG not going to land the shot. Ooh. And that means Mantu can spray him down. I love that KNG gets that no-scope, dropping down onto the site. He is feeling it right now. You can tell. Even in that round that they lose, he gets 3 kills. But it's not meant to be on this occasion. OG at least up to a 7th.
Oh, he landed a shot on Mantu, actually, but it was through the box, leaving Mantu on about 30 HP. But again, just proving to be so dangerous, the threat for the rest of the series, just in that play. Scary, scary stuff. KNG maybe looking career best with some of the stuff that we're seeing from him. With that round, OG are only at half the score of their opponent. So much more for them to do. Mantu quickly towards Secret, looking for that MIBR player rotating into main for the free kill, the cheap kill, the easy kill. But Lucas will be around the corner with the French gun. 2 snipers again. KNG currently 28 for 10 on Nuke. But again, let's not forget, more than half those kills were with the AK-47 in the first half, and I enjoyed every one of those. I would love to see more of him just with an AK on the T side. Because that was a great help to his team, honestly. Lurking around those smokes and so on. He just found so many frags. 1 minute on the clock here for OG, who have kept most of their utility. Seem to be lining up some smoke grenades for the outside. But what will they do afterwards?
Oh, Flash doesn't blind VSM. He can continue to hold this angle. You've got to remember as well, KNG is the IGL of this team now. I'm sure he's making some calls for himself. That's what MIBR have been saying. They're trying to make everyone comfortable. They're giving everyone some of their own moves, but it's still very impressive for KNG to be playing like this while calling for the squad. Issa down to half health. 30 seconds remaining. OG are hoping they can perhaps flank on towards this A site. Alexi B gets the 1 kill he was looking for, but KNG confidently peeking. It's not going to pay off for him, though. Leo drops the bomb. That could be crucial. He wants the AK. He desperately wants to pick it up. He's finally got it, and TRK is still on the site. Another kill for MIBR. Leo with the free fire. He's going huge in this round. He's got a triple kill, and MIBR have got their 15th round.
You could see how awkward that was for everybody based on pressing mouse 1 instead of E and shooting the gun rather than picking it up. Very, very nervous stuff, but it is game point for MIBR. OG again found themselves in a sandwich. What a difficult round. Leo at the point of no return there. He got so much out of this, but TRK again with 2 kills before falling to Pallate. So important as per usual. Last chance saloon for OG.
Leo's loving it. A very nice triple kill with the AK. All clean headshots for him. Alexi B's got another opening towards door. This is definitely one of OG's strengths on this map. Alexi B is very effective at knowing all these angles, at getting these early kills to start the round. And it makes it so much more difficult for the CTs. Once they go a man down, they can really struggle to know exactly where to position their players. Problem is, for OG, they're not going to have too many more chances if this continues, because MIBR could very well close this game out right now, and KNG could be the man to do it. 28 kills turned into 29. KNG's sniper has been so good in this game. Drops a smoke defensively to try and stay alive. The flash is raining in, but KNG doesn't care. He's going for more. He's missed finally, but he's done enough for his team to have the advantage.
Yeah, I believe MIBR have all the information now where the remaining OG players are, which means that they can take liberties with their positions on the remaining players. It will be hard for OG to press on, as these players could be anywhere. Got some pre-fire from NBK. Oh, VSM, a rare miss from him. C.R.A.E's being spotted as well. The quick reload, and it's 1v1. NBK maybe ends here. Shadow advantage for Leo Drunky, but he can't land the final bullets. Only one more required. That's such a scary round for NBK and OG, but they are still alive.
That's the round they needed to break the bank of MIBR, though. If they want to come back into this game, this is the way to do it. Force MIBR into some uncomfortable situations. Force them to maybe buy up pistols or even just go for a straight-up save. Shout out to NBK. He'd been a bit quiet in this game, but the quad kill, when his team need it the most, puts MIBR down to a poor position. Deegs for most of their players, as well as one Mag 7. And this is a full investment for MIBR. So if they lose this, it's going to have to be a save. And then this game could start to get a little bit closer.
Quick execute into the A-bomb site. Leo's waiting for something, but OG have chosen the right path. The Mag 7 is avoided. Body bags won't be avoided from MIBR for the time being, though. 3 pistoleros remaining. Not much for them to do but play for exit frags at this juncture. Maybe save their Kevlar for the rounds to come again. Well, there's a fair chance that maybe they can steal a weapon away, it being Nuke and all.
Valdo really wants to make sure there's no one in that smoke. And there is not, so he's done his job. I think from OG's perspective, if they start to bring this back to a really close scoreline, they'll be kicking themselves for some of those early rounds. They were, what, 7-2 down before they really got a good chance to start to build up some rounds and build up some buys. This T side isn't looking too bad for them, but it's such a big deficit to overcome. Lucas, unfortunately, gets to steal a gun, but he only gets to steal the Mac 10, which is a bit of a shame. And now MIBR should be saving ahead of this next round, but at least they've saved some guns to stay in with a chance of doing something. Damn, KNG, the man on 30 kills, doesn't get a gun. He's the only one without a gun. Come on, guys.
Sometimes it be like that. See them falling back, OG. Now, surely someone is going to stay near the lobby in case of a push. Or are they confident that MIBR won't do any such thing? Leo Drunky's already in the hut. Safety in numbers. OG seem to have a clear idea as to what they want to do. They need 6 rounds from 6 for Nuke to continue. KNG makes his way downstairs, presumably to spot. He only has the USP. I don't imagine he wants to die unless he's going to risk a flank. You can see him playing an off angle here, but I'm sure every corner will be checked for. There we go. 500 HP, OG move on.
They will be stomping their way towards the B site, where VSM is the only man waiting for them. Ooh, Valda kind of ran out by himself there. And because of that, he will be traded by Leo. It's not going to be a big issue, though. The rest of OG getting all the kills that are required. And double digits will be confirmed momentarily. MIBR should be buying after this round, though. You starting to get nervous yet, James? Or do you think MIBR got this?
I think they have too many rounds to capitulate on. I'm not nervous at all. I think in most cases, it is eventually going to... There will eventually be a converted CT round. I say eventually. There aren't that many rounds left, in fairness, so I think I might be a bit too confident in what I'm saying right now.
Is this like that Avengers meme? It's like there's 2 billion possibilities, and I only see one where OG win.
If you think about it, like rounds 10, 12, and 14 are full buys for MIBR. I mean, OG's score being 10, 12, and 14 are full buys for MIBR. And then there's a... Well, that's it. So they've got 3 chances.
There's always the chance of an upset with just the Deegs, though.
Yeah. Many a game has been won that way. But I'm banking on the... I think OG are much more organized in terms of anti-force buys and anti-ecos with a full buy, let's say, as opposed to, you know, like second-round weapons. So, I don't think they'll... I think their chances of slipping up are less than with MIBR. Sometimes you get deegged, quite simply. And MIBR like to deeg people a lot. But I'm focusing on the buy rounds here. So there are 3 buy rounds here for MIBR, this being the first one. We'll see what they're able to do.
This one is without a kit, without an AWP for MIBR. Some nades missing on top of that. So it's really going to come down to individuals doing their jobs in this one. From OG's perspective, I do wonder whether they're aware that MIBR have a slightly weaker buy in this round. If you can be confident that there's no AWP, for example, I think you can probably exploit Yard. And it looks like Mantu's looking to do just that. A couple of CT smokes down, though, and KNG is getting aggressive again. He loves this, and Lucas has got the early kill. KNG now going aggressive, and Alexi's not ready. KNG with a second kill towards Yard, and that could be the decisive moment of this map. A 5v3 for MIBR. They will sit back on their side of the map and they will say, OG, you are the ones that have to do something now. We've got the edge. It's up to the 3 remaining OG players to turn this one round.
We know NBK is able to hold his nerve when it's time to clutch. We've seen it already in this game. Spoken about Issa's clutch as well. That was on a CT side that I was referring to. T side maybe more difficult. Again, that main position will have some shadow advantage if OG look to wrap. Still with a minute on the clock. So many angles for them to deal with as well. I'll look to isolate some fights at the very least. And then there were 2. Oh god, KNG. Start as you mean to go on. 33 for 14. An outstanding performance so far. Finally taken out by NBK. 30 seconds and 22 HP. Lucas is here, given another 1 versus 1. Running out of bullets though, down to 1 HP now. And that will be that. TRK to finish off the job. A great game of Nuke from MIBR. The forces back and forth at the beginning. Too difficult for OG to start off well on their CT side, and KNG individually lurking outside of the AK-47. Going on to the CT side as well. Outstanding performance from him. Crazy action here on Nuke, and there's much more action to come after the break.